Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. That is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts. Got a big one for you today. It's going to be all.
I got a big one for you too, buddy.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, check out the thread I just sent.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that in a second here. Let's get into this now. I'm. Oh boy, we got a couple of things we got to do before we get to our special guest today. First of all, anybody tuning in for an update on Donutgate, there is no update. There were no fruit cheese croissants for me to test the guy this week, so we punt that to next week. Other quick little bit of housekeeping here. So I'm gonna get around to some like card shows in the Bay Area. Maybe about once a month in the coming months. So I'm going to be at the Card and Collectibles card show at the Cow Palace on August 31st. And what's cool about that is if you run into me there and we get a chance to meet up, you will get a piece of Rip N Riff memorabilia. That's right. We're going to give out cards given away that were actually ripped on the show. So it's more of a way for me to clean out clutter. You get a little QR code there to scan and like the page. So keep an eye out for those if you go into the Cow Palace on Saturday, August 31st. Now, what football season? What season's right around here? Football, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think you botched that tease. You want another attempt at it?
No. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna just keep going here, guys. I already messed up how I wanted to do it, and that ship has sailed. So why don't we just bring the man in? At
I thought you did a great job, dude.
No.
I really liked it, dude.
No. That was a stub your toe on the corner of the bed throw right there. That's what that was.
That was the guy that was like, F it, we'll do it live. Let's just get in here. Let's go. You know,
Riley.
Here's the thing. We're here now. We're here now and we're rocking. And I see people trickling in the chat, dude, hanging out with us today. So it's gonna be a good one, man. I love joining you guys, dude. One of my favorite things.
Now, I want to go back to what Jared reposted for the show, where he's going to attempt to summon a rainstorm to ruin your Labor Day plans if you don't tune in. So Jared really getting ahead of the game here. A couple of weeks away. It's not that far off, but it's coming up. So good job by you, Jared.
Well, listen, the summer's winding down. People are planning that one last big getaway for the summer. And look, I don't know the first thing about summoning a rainstorm. I could do some Google searches after the show. I'll say two things about it. One, the mental image of me actually attempting to do it is hysterical.
Full rain dance, right? I want to see that
full rain dance. Yeah, and probably should not be shared on the internet by anybody. And the second thing is, even if it does now rain on Labor Day weekend, you're going to have that in the back of your mind, like, oh shit, did Jared cause this?
Did he?
It's something you got to think about now. And it's like, oh well, you know, I guess I should have watched the show.
I mean, I do have so many drafts that it'd be okay if it rained. I wouldn't even notice. That's how many fantasy drafts I have. I wouldn't even have any idea. I would get outside and my car would be wet. And then
now, if it rained by me Labor Day weekend, that would be something because it never rains in my neck of the woods Labor Day weekend. So I would fully believe the Jared powers at that point. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
I'm excited.
Now, Coop, you've got Fantasy Alarm's annual draft guide. That's out right now, correct?
Yeah, it's out. We just all updated our rankings. Me, Howard, Jim Bowden. My yin and yang tight end is out there. It's all in there. Go get your copy now so you can crush your leagues. We got content coming out on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube all over the place. And the only other thing I got to plug is we have a new show that I'm doing with Theo Greminger, Redraft in 5 here on YouTube. Just getting started off. He's with Player Profiler. I'm with Fantasy Alarm. Basically, we just got the green light to run this show and plug our content from that we do on Fantasy Alarm. So we're going to rock that. It's going to be really cool, man. But, dude, enough plugs, enough what's going on, dude.
Let's get to the packs. Now, we will get to the packs in a second. Just some patience here. A little bit of housekeeping. First, we got to tell everybody what we're ripping today. They got to know. So let's get that up on the screen there. So I'm going to go old school. I got 1997 Pacific Crown Collection. Figure, you know, get a little late 90s guys there. Maybe an Orlando Pace rookie. Maybe a Jake Plummer. Who knows? You know, you can see some of the insert and subsets there. Jared, what do you have today?
I got the 2022 30-card value pack for the Panini Prestige 2022 with the Prince that was promised, Trevor Lawrence on the cover. Shout out to Nick Wright. Look for exclusive Sunburst parallels, and I'm sure the Kid Reporter card will also make another appearance.
Our favorite.
Here, so, yeah, a classic favorite of ours. One of our great bits.
The Kid Reporter. That's my favorite nickname for you, man. The Kid Reporter. I got I have a Donruss some Panini Donruss. We're obviously looking for CJ Stroud. I mean, he's the champ there. I'd settle for some Bryce Young and maybe even a little Will Levis. You never know. Those QB cards always carry the weight. I also managed to sneak a second pack here, only
Ooh.
a pack Panini Contenders from this year. And we're basically looking for the same players, looking for jerseys, autograph cards. Those the Contenders are the ones with the tickets, right? It's like that's the whole rub there, boys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from that set too, like the downtown also is a popular one in that series. So we'll be looking out for those as well.
Oh, the downtown, those are so cool, man. Like it's again, I'm not like you know me, like I got my tight end collection, which is growing. And but I still kind of am a sucker for cool card art. And if you actually really care about the card art, I feel like the downtown has the best card art. I mean, it's incredible, right? The animated stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's like every era's had like their own like individual card art. Like back in the early 90s, they would use it as like the checklist and like the upper deck sets and stuff like that. So it's cool to see it evolve into something that actually has value versus a checklist. We're gonna get the football packs in just a second. Toronto Dave checking in as well. Always love that. Big Coop supporter, and then of course Jeremy there as well with the Coop.
Jeremy is he's the guy, he's the moderator from Reddit. He runs the fantasy Reddit account on Twitter there. So we got big dogs in the house, TD and Jeremy.
Well,
Nice. Shout out to them.
Well, shout out to them. We'll mind our P's and Q's for sure. Now, before we get to cards, like we said before the show, we've been going through a couple of divisions a week here. This week, you got an NFC East fan and two AFC East fans and one NFC East fan. So why don't we take a look at some of those win totals and division odds and to throw up the screen there. Let's start with the NFC East. There you see the favorites to win the division. No surprise are the Eagles, followed by the Cowboys, and then longer shots with the Commanders and the Giants. You see those win totals up on the screen there. You can not pick anything, or there could be something you love or hate. Why don't you, Jared, you kick us off here as a Giants fan. Anything that you see in a division you know well?
None of these really jump out to me. I don't want to lay that much juice to bet the Eagles over, and I'm not taking the under with them. I'm avoiding the Giants altogether. I'm just down on I'm down on Daniel Jones. Obviously he's not going to be the long-term quarterback, probably past this season. I would imagine he'll get shut down at the end of the year and they'll move on from him. If I were to pick one of these, I think I would take Commanders over 6.5. And it's really more of it's an anti-Giants pick. It's an anti-NFC East pick to an extent, but I am a believer in Jaden Daniels. I do like Dan Quinn as a coach in terms of at least helping him on the defensive side of the ball. It's new era there in Washington. Obviously, with the new ownership they have with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson now running the show, new coach, new GM. I feel like for the first time in a long time, they actually have a sense of what the hell they're doing. So if I were going to pick any of these, I'd probably lean towards that one.
Coop, what do you like looking at the NFC East there?
I like the term you use there, anti-NFC East play, because I do worry a little bit. Like the Eagles are obviously the wagon. I don't want to bet against them. I do worry a little bit that, you lose Jason Kelsey. That's a big leader, the quarterback of your offensive line. It's also, the tush push might not be as effective without him. The Cowboys, man, that's one where I think I would actually be willing to bet the under. And usually I've been a Cowboys supporter. It's just, we make all this talk about from the top down and how it's all about, how the organization's run. And Jerry Jones seems to really have screwed this up. He has left this team so thin. If anything happens to CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott, they're done. The season's done, right? Because, they have nothing else for wide receivers. They didn't go out and get a running back. They lost Tyron Smith. They lost Tyler Biotish. Like, what is there to be said about? When Jerry Jones said they were going all in, what was he even talking about? Right? Like, they did none of it. They did not go the complete opposite of going all in. And then you look at their schedule, and it's like, they better beat some of these tough teams early, right? Like, they're playing Cleveland, Baltimore, Pitt, Detroit, San Francisco, Philly, Houston, Philly again, right? The Bengals, like the schedule is brutal. They need to win both the games against Washington, both the games against the Giants, and then down the stretch, they got games like Tampa Bay. If they get any injuries early on, they could lose games in the easy part of the schedule later, and they'd be in big trouble. So I will bet against the Cowboys. Plus, we got so many Cowboys fans tied to, Fantasy Alarm and all our crew. It's fun to root against like Jim Bowden and Britt Flynn and everybody and Ronus, right? Like, isn't Adam Ronus the funnest person to root against? So
He is
that's
fun
a
to
fun
root
thing.
against.
It is. Yeah, he's a great one.
The Cowboys
but
do
like-
have 9 and 8 written all over them, so I can see that under plus 118, like looking like pretty sharp there.
And like you were saying,
That's
like
good.
CeeDee Lamb hasn't even reported yet, and I would include Micah Parsons in that. If he goes down, the Cowboys are in trouble discussion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's done. I mean, like if it all goes right, it goes well. There's a few of those teams, right? Like the Jets they're very fragile with Rodgers and Mike Williams and Tyron Smith. If it all goes right, it's going to be great. But I just feel like it's so thin with the Cowboys. If CeeDee Lamb actually holds out and he doesn't show up, I mean, does Jake Ferguson get 140 targets? Is Brandon Cooks gonna be like? I mean, like they're in trouble, man. Jalen, I'm actually looking around at guys like Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert and like the 10 guys named Jalen they have. Ryan Flournoy. Like I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, maybe there is a sleeper here because they got nothing,
Flournoy was my like 6th round pick in a dynasty rookie draft as a taxi squad stash. So
what I'm
now maybe
saying.
that doesn't look so bad.
They got another Jalen whose name escapes me now. That Jalen Cropper. He just fumbled a punt in the last game. But I mean, one of these Jalen's could pop. I don't know because that's how we got Puka Nacua, right? Like the Rams traded it. They didn't have picks. They didn't have money, and Puka Nacua just so happened to be the second best wide receiver behind Cooper Kupp. Just so happened to be incredible. If it's CeeDee Lamb and nobody, maybe there is a sleeper from that team. But I don't know. They're going to need somebody to step up.
And then you got the whole running back situation there. They bring back Ezekiel Elliott. He's pre-washed like a good pair of jeans. And I don't know if Rico Daddle's going to be anything like if I were going to plant my flag on any of the Cowboy running backs, it'd probably be him, but it's very well possibility he might just be a guy. So
I opened one of these. I couldn't contain myself. So I opened one of these packs yesterday and I pulled this. What do you think about, it's a Deuce Vaughn.
Forgot about him.
The Deuce Vaughn patch. I think this one's worth if you sell at the right price, it's worth about 75 cents. But
has he grown 3 inches and added 15 pounds in the offseason?
30 pounds, Jared.
Yeah.
30 pounds.
Like
no, he is not. But his dad's still one of the coaches. So
no, his dad's one of the coaches, but he's also like a literal child.
He is
in terms of like body type, at least.
It's not happening. It's not happening. But I'm rooting for him as of 6:15 yesterday when I cracked that pack of cards. Big fan of his.
There you go.
That's funny how that works, right?
Funny how that works. All of a sudden, I was like, well, maybe. I thought about it.
Maybe if the right people get hurt and probably you find a way.
You can tell how I feel because this isn't in any sort of protective case.
Yeah, there's that could be given away for free in the things I was talking about before the show, the little Rip N Riffs on the back.
I think so.
Josh Latshaw checks in. I still plant my flag on the push being as effective because it wasn't as tied to Kelsey as much as people made it seem, referring to the tush push. Although I don't think they use it as much now that Barkley is there. They'll use him in short to goal line to save Hurts.
I love Josh Latshaw, man. He's been following me since I'm not even kidding, 300 followers. And since I've known him for so long, I know he's a massive Eagles fan. And I don't believe a word you say, Josh. So get that Eagles propaganda out of the chat.
So here's what would concern me with the Eagles and the tush push since we're on this. So Coop, I'm sure you read that huge ESPN piece like last week or the week before on like the rift between Sirianni and Hurts and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I wonder how much of that is actually tied to the tush push and like the fact that, it's not a nothing play. Like, Jalen Hurts, obviously he can squat a ton of weight and like he's, a big, strong guy. But eventually that takes a physical toll when you're running that as many times as you are. And I just wonder if like, he's just like, can't somebody else do this shit?
Look what happened to Tank Dell last year. Just in the goal line play, gets rolled up on from behind and just, hurts his leg. It could happen in those piles. Those piles are brutal. And I will say this, one underrated part of the Kelsey part of the tush push, he says it's not as tied to Kelsey as people seem. Go back to the end of last year. And the league kind of noticed that Travis Kelsey was picking up the ball. When he would go to pick up the ball
and moving it forward,
he would move it forward, right?
Yes.
And then they started throwing flags. This offseason, Kelsey, now that he retired, on the podcast, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, if you're not cheating a little, then I mean, what are you doing? He's like, it's such a funny clip because he's like, yeah, Tom Brady, I'm all for whatever he was doing with the balls. He made it better, great. He's like, we'll be doing the stuff in camp where it's like, how many pull-ups can you do? And I'm like figuring out a way to like jump on my first one. He's like, whatever I could do to get an edge. He's like, so for me, he's like, yeah, of course we would do that. He's like, I'm a veteran. Some of these refs have only been around for a couple of years. He's like, yeah, of course I'll pick up the ball and move it. Maybe they'll keep getting away with it, but last year it was brought to the attention of league officials and they started calling. So, I mean, every little edge comes together and it's great. You start peeling away some of those edges. Maybe not as great.
Right. And I'm not going to say rookie center, but inexperienced center replacing him. So does he know all the tricks of the trade and how much are they going to be looking out for that?
Exactly. Even though it may have not been tied to Jason Kelsey, center's a very important position. They just had one of the best of the last 40 years. So that's not an easy thing to replace. So got to factor that in as well.
A lot of audibles, a lot of communication that needs to be done. It's a lot of these schemes are a counting game, and you got guys moving around all over the place. You count wrong. Now the quarterback's getting popped, So
all right.
We'll see.
All right, so we took a look at the NFCs there. We got a couple of AFCs fans here, myself with the Jets and Coop with the Patriots. Why don't we take a look at their odds and win totals there? As you can see, the Bills are slight favorites over the Jets to take the division, with the Dolphins not too far behind, and then the Patriots there at plus 2,400. Don't see them winning it this year. You've had your time in the sun. Now it's time to pay the other end of that. Enjoy that for the next few years. And then you look at the win totals there. Patriots expected to be 4.5, Dolphins 9.5, Bills 10.5, Jets 9.5. Jared, start with you again. Anything there jumping out at you? Anything that you like?
I kind of like the Dolphins to win the division at plus 220. Okay. As the third long shot there. It's not really even that long a shot at plus 220, but I love the weapons they have there with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and obviously the running backs that they have. I'm not convinced that Devon Achane is going to live up to his draft hype necessarily, but I don't necessarily think it matters in terms of winning games and scheme and whatnot, just because, Mike McDaniel is such a good coach and they have other options, with Raheem Mostert. I think the defense will be a little bit better. So it's also a little bit of an anti-Jets pick. Like, I'm just never going to bet on the Jets to do anything or have any modicum of success. And I am a little bit concerned with the Bills, just with some of the pieces that they've lost in the offseason. So if I were going to take one of these, I'd lean towards Miami winning the division at plus 220.
Well, I like that because I already have money on Miami to win the division. I already jumped on this bet ahead of time. So I'm in on that. I just think the big part is the coach, man. When you watch these games for the 49ers and now the Texans and the Dolphins, I think this offense that utilizes the fullback, has an elite left tackle, uses a crazy amount of motion. I know the league's going to try and, pull back on the cheat motion where, they're getting a little bit of a vertical at the end of the, it is what it is. But I think that it's just too explosive. And they knew what was important to the offense and made sure that they have enough of it. Like if Raheem Mostert goes down, it doesn't matter because they have Devon Achane and they now have Jalen Wright, right? Losing Connor Williams hurts, losing Robert Hunt hurts, but I think the team is still going to be just fine. I worry about the Bills, man. It's not just losing Stephon Diggs in 130 targets. The guy was getting nearly 70 first downs a year, right? That has us in on Dalton Kincaid. I got a stack of Dalton Kincaid cards right next to me, betting on him having a really good year here. But it's a lot to overcome. And the Jets are just very fragile. That's the word, is that Aaron Rodgers, old, cranky, could retire at any moment. I wouldn't be shocked, and then you've got Mike Williams, injury prone, Tyron Smith, super injury prone, right? Hassan Reddick holding out. I think I like the Dolphins here. And then, of course, bet the overs on all the Patriots stuff. Patriots are back. No big deal. Drake May's a star. Patriots are back. Don't worry about it. I tried to sneak that in as much.
So Patriots to win the division at plus 2,400 is what we're saying.
It's not
Juju Smith-Schuster, addition by subtraction.
Correct.
There's not a lot of wins. All right, let me go through here, and you stop me and say the word win when it's a definitive Patriots win. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't say anything otherwise. We'll let the air speak. Cincinnati Bengals at Bengals. Seattle Seahawks at home. New York Jets on the road on a Thursday night.
Short
I
week
think
though.
I think it could be a win.
All right,
If
I
it
will
was
take
in
it.
New England, if it was,
It's
They have
in
a
New
history
York
of
on
beating the Jets.
It's in New York on Thursday. There's
Right. Well, it's also a short week for the Jets.
every home Patriots game this year is at 1:00. I got free tickets to go to a game, and I literally can't go. I could pick any game I wanted. I literally can't use the tickets because I have to do the shows and stuff. I could, even if they had one home 4:00 game, I could have gone. I can't go, so I just had to be like, I can't use it.
when you're a
Stupid.
crappy team, you're in that early
All right,
1:00
so
Eastern slot.
Jets, maybe. This one's a win, definitely. At San Francisco.
You bet. All the way.
Okay. Miami Dolphins on the road. Down there, we don't win. Texans.
No.
So we get Jacksonville, but we have to play them in London.
Neutral site. Maybe if they got off to a bad start, sometimes getting on a road trip like that can set you right.
We'll call it maybe. Jets.
If you're going to give them, you got to give them a split. The Patriots aren't sweeping the Jets. So if you're going to give them one, you got to give them the other one.
At Tennessee.
That's winnable.
I think it's the game they could win.
That was a team Jared talked about last week, taking the under on 5, I believe 5.5 wins it was.
At Chicago. The books have Chicago winning this. But yeah, not going to win that. Rams.
No.
Dolphins. Colts.
They got a good defense. Oh.
No. Cardinals.
Maybe. Yeah, that's one I could give you. That's, yeah.
Okay, then it goes Buffalo in 2 of the last 3 games. So those are losses. And then Chargers.
So we have 2 maybes, 2 wins, and then another maybe. So we'll call it what? 3 wins, 3.5 wins?
I have 5 fingers up, and they're almost all maybes. So, and I can't bet the under on 4.5. That's just too stupid. So I just stay away from it.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. I think the defense is probably better than you're giving them credit for, and they're getting Christian Gonzalez back. And
they traded Judon away.
Right, they did trade Judon, which hurts, but like Judon's also an older player, and they're moving on. And I'm acknowledging that Bill Belichick has a lot to do with what they're scheming defensively. We'll see what Gerard Mayo does.
Christian Barmore has blood clots. It might. I mean, you never know with that, but what I'm hearing is that it could range from anything. He could be back next week. His career could be over. So it's like it's. I don't know, man.
I guess my point is, I think the defense is good enough where they could probably fluke into a couple wins.
Right. I do think they have a strong enough defense to steal a couple for sure. I would buy that.
Yeah, like when the Chargers come up to New England, the Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh punch you in the mouth. Chargers comes up to New England in December. What do you think the over-under for that game is going to be? Like 10?
28. I was going to say like 23.
28. Yeah, I think 28 is actually pretty reasonable.
Now,
I mean, it's just going to be a weird season. But I like Drake May. I think that he could develop into, a Josh Allen type guy. But even Josh Allen wasn't him. Josh Allen's completion percentage as a rookie was 52%. Like Drake May.
It took Josh Allen 3 years to get good.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs. Yeah. It's like, so I think Drake May could be interesting for fantasy if he's willing to run, but that's about it. That's probably enough Patriots talk forever.
I want to go back to the Bills for a second before we start ripping some packs here. And Coop, I know you're itching, so you can go first. Jared mentioned the term addition by subtraction before, and I understand everything Stephon Diggs brings to the table, but he's also a complete and utter malcontent. The guy is never happy anywhere. Do you think there's some sort of like, hey, this guy's out of the locker room and there's a little bit more of a freer, happier Bills team? I mean, I'm stretching, but that does factor sometimes when a guy's just a total mount. It kind of ruins the locker room. And the Bills choked in the playoffs, and maybe that's a part of the reason.
Well, the reality, I think you're onto something there, because didn't it feel like the entirety of the Bills' success was based on what side of the bed Stephon Diggs woke up that day?
Yes.
It was, if he played well, they were unstoppable. And when he didn't show up, they didn't look like a team. And I think that's your point here, is that like Gabe Davis wasn't stepping up. They just weren't a team. They were 2 guys, right? You know what I mean? So they could be in trouble. I mean, they could be in trouble, but maybe they play as a more cohesive unit, and maybe they are a little less predictable.
Here's what
big loss they did. They lost Matt Milano, who is their best coverage linebacker. So the Bills, I can tell you, as a guy that, I do a ton of the tight end stuff, the weekly tight end stuff, when they have Matt Milano, this is a team you want to bench your tight end against. When he's been out, it's just you just start your guys. So like they go back to a team that now they have to figure out how to cover running backs and tight ends again, because that's what Milano was very, very, very good at. And if he's going to come back, it won't be till December. I think he tore his bicep.
Torn bicep, yeah, which is
Yeah.
a multi-month injury.
Good God.
Here's what concerns me about the Bills. You mentioned that with Stephon Diggs and what side of the bed he wakes up on. I think to an extent that also applies to Josh Allen. And I say that because he has a tendency to play hero ball. And when he plays hero ball, it typically does not go well because he's forcing the ball in the coverage. He's taking unnecessary hits, and that's just the way he plays. There's a little too much of the bad Brett Favre in his game,
right?
Where, I mean, like the great Brett Favre, like it works and aesthetically it's pleasing. Like when he, threads the ball into triple coverage and whatnot, but you also have to take the bad with that. And I worry with Diggs no longer there, and them not really doing a whole lot to replace him. Like I know they drafted the kid Coleman out of Florida State and whatnot, but I feel like we're gonna see some of that bad Josh Allen until the Bills kind of figure out what they have.
Josh Allen, he throws a lot of arm punts, right?
Yeah.
There's a debate. Joe Burrow has actually talked, and sorry to ramble on. This is the last point. Joe Burrow has talked about that not all sacks and not all interceptions are created equally, but it sure does seem like Josh Allen throws a lot of really forced and ugly interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Curtis Samuel, I know he's hurt and he's going to be out week to week, but I thought that was actually a nice fit for Buffalo considering they were going cheap. So that was a guy that I was high on, maybe selfishly because I have shares of him in Dynasty, but nonetheless, I thought that was actually a cheap, good marriage there between the two. But we've talked odds long enough. We're here to do stuff. We're here to rip cards, and I know Coop's itching. So why don't you kick us off? We'll go reverse chronological, 2023 Donruss. Starting with Coop.
Let's go, Donruss. I got to figure out, again, off air, I want to talk with you guys about setting up a better way to view my cards. I know you guys got all sorts of fancy setups, but I'm not even good at holding them up in a way that you can see them. All right, here we go.
It's a good rip.
Oh, I can already see a kid reporter card. So we're coming out hot. I'm pulling that one first here. We'll start at the front, but here you go. Look at A. That's we got a good one, dude. Do you think I'll be able to get to the show? Ask my question.
I think you would be an excellent kid reporter. Besides the fact that you're in your 30s and a father, but other than that, you'd be a great kid reporter.
And
young Dylan's got nothing on you.
Other than that, all right, here we go. Wow, starting off with a really great card, Kareem Hunt. I'll just put that right over here.
Yeah. He'll find a job like week 12 somewhere.
We got Quinnen Williams. So part of me says, and again, these sometimes have optic in them, don't they? Or is it just all Donruss? Or is every once in a while they put the inserts for optic in these?
I think sometimes you get him in there. I'm not 100% on that, but yeah.
Evan McPherson. That looks pretty clean on the screen right there. I think we're figuring it out.
It does. And he just secured the bag. So shout out to him.
Big bag. Yeah. That was one that I got to give a quick shout out to Linda Lindellians, the kicker whisperer. She was on this guy going back to college. She was like, this guy can hit bombs and he does not miss from close, which has been the case.
Wasn't he the guy that kicked like a soda cap off like the bottle from like however many yards away?
Yes. Yeah. Like just ridiculous. I mean, these guys are all freaks. Grant Delpit.
Good strong safety.
Yeah.
LSU.
This guy is probably the best player in the league at avoiding contact, which has been a problem for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Tyler Lockett. Is anybody better at just catching the ball and going right to the ground? And no one ever gives
what though? That's a skill in and of itself. Availability is your best ability, right?
It's true. And I mean, like in the JSN, the people that want JSN to emerge, I mean, as long as he's doing that, it's not going to happen. Here we go. Here's a card that has been bleeding value. Marquise Brown.
Not just
Cardinals, but Now he's got the chest injury. Here we go. Here's another dude. Are any of these players on the team for the cards? This pack is literally all players that are no longer on the team. This is a good card because Christian Wilkins is a good player, but not on the team.
So
No, he's not.
he goes to the Raiders. They announced that Gardner Minshew is their starting quarterback. I know there's not high expectations for the Raiders, but I mean, that is a big addition to the defense. Like Jared was talking about with the Patriots before, where the defense can maybe carry them to a couple of victories. Do we see a similar thing with the Raiders?
I mean, I think that honestly, Gardner Minshew is slightly above replacement level. So, and again, it depends what you want to consider replacement level, because in the NFL, you can't really say the 15th or 16th best QB in the league is replacement level, right? Because Jared Goff is probably 15th or 16th. That's a good player, right?
Yeah, he's more like 25th, 26th in that range.
That's what I'm saying. So you say replacement level is like Baker Mayfield, maybe Geno Smith. I don't see
fair.
why Minshew couldn't be that, right? And well, you look at the Bucks were a playoff team, right? Like the Seahawks are in contention, so it's entirely possible. And again, you have Devontae Adams. If Brock Bowers is as good as he's supposed to be, if Zamir White just kind of steps in, like they can make some noise. The division's tough. That's a problem. But I think the Chargers are obviously going to go through some growing pains, and the Broncos kind of stink. So it's not crazy. It's not crazy.
If you love 12 personnel, you're going to love the 2024 Raiders.
Dude, you just got to remember that Brock Bowers is just stronger. Jordy Nelson. Hopefully there's a Brock Bowers. No, he wouldn't be in here. Hopefully there's a Kincaid or Musgrave. Dude, okay. Back
the other thing I'll add real quick. I did have a nice laugh the other day when I saw the Raiders announce that Minshew was going to be the starter with the QB1 tweet. Because if that didn't have Andy Dalton QB1 on the Bears tweet vibes, like nothing will.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going through this pack. Dude, none of these players are on the team. Darnell Mooney.
No, he's with the Falcons now, right?
On the Falcons now. So
yeah,
we're getting back towards the inserts. But so far, going through these cards, Darnell Mooney, not on the team. Christian Wilkins, not on the team.
And this is a 2023 pack.
2023. This is like last year. Marquise Brown, not on the team. Tyler Lockett is on the team. Grant Delpit, Evan McPherson, they are. Quinnen Williams, is he still on the Jets?
He's still with the Jets, yes.
Still with the Jets. Okay. And then Kareem Hunt, not with the Browns.
Yeah.
All right, let's get in. We're getting close to the inserts. Oh, look at it. Right on cue. Brian Burns, not with the Panthers.
Not with Carolina anymore.
Not with Carolina. What do you guys think about that addition? Would you have, I mean, like this whole Hassan Reddick thing has kind of messed everything up because it's like now everybody's turning around and they're like, oh man, thank God we didn't go for Hassan Reddick. Thank God we went for Brian Burns or we went for Matthew Judon. What do you think about Brian Burns?
Well, I want to say it's not, as a Jet fan, like you got Matthew Judon going, well, it wouldn't be fair of me to, try and hold out for a new contract, blah, blah, blah. And then you got like Hassan, like come on, man. Hassan,
come on, right?
Take a page from his book.
It hurts my feelings too.
I can't relate. I'm a Giants fan. I just saw they traded for Brian Burns and they just paid him. So, I don't know that I have any more comment on that.
You do. Like, that's the whole deal, isn't it?
I will say this. After watching, I don't have HBO anymore. So I didn't actually watch the entirety of the Giants Hard Knocks in the offseason edition. But from the clips I saw of Joe Shane, I feel like the franchise is in good hands. Like, he's a sharp guy. I feel like he knows what he's doing. Like it's going to look really bad when Saquon Barkley blows up this year with the Eagles and the Giants keep him. The optics aren't great, especially in a market like New York. But I feel like the team in general is heading in the right direction. Now they got to address the quarterback at some point, but
I was so against that contract, but we'll get to it. I got the worst running back in the league that has only ever had 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Najee Harris.
That has only had 1,000-yard. All right, so that
only ever had. It's like people are like, oh, he stinks. He's literally only ever had 1,000+ yard rushing seasons, which. Yeah.
And
now you're going to make me Google. Be like, wait a minute, did Olandis Gary ever dip below 1,000 yards? Because I would say he's probably the worst running back to have 1,000-yard season.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's been plenty to have 1,000.
I mean, the Broncos were churning them out. Yeah, Terrell Davis, then Olandis Gary, then Mike Anderson.
Yeah. Philip Lindsay had 2.
Yeah, and then Portis, and then other guys.
Sam Williams.
I think he got thrown off the team or he's something like that, right?
That was actually that might have been him. Great. So pretty good so far. Here's a Eagles legend.
Fletcher Cox.
Cox.
Yeah, enjoy retirement, big fella.
Here's a great player here. Wish we were wish it was an insert of some kind. But Jamar Chase.
There we go. Base card, but
That
still a
whole
good base card.
situation with Chase is weird because like he's still holding out and he's got 2 years left on his deal. And I was just talking about this with somebody today. Like it doesn't really make sense for him to do the new contract now, even if he could, like just because Lamb's going to reset the market. Like the I deal hasn't been signed yet, and like when Chase signs this new deal, he's going to be the highest paid receiver in the league.
He might get $40 million.
Give him exactly the same contract that Justin Jefferson got. Right? Like Jefferson had the fifth. They were drafted the same year, were they not?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Adam can look that real quick.
Both first round picks, both drafted the same year. Chase was drafted earlier, but like you can't tell him that he's worse than Justin Jefferson. He will never accept that. Right?
Right.
If you give him the same exact contract, that's like, I think everyone will be happy with that. Right. So if they're offering him less than that, if I'm Chase on principle, I don't accept that. I don't accept it. So I think they should just do that and get it done with. Let me get this pack done with. Roschon Johnson, rated rookie. Now, I mean, I don't love DeAndre Swift. So if so facto, I still like Roschon Johnson a little bit. And then we got a Patriots player here, Keon White. So
just to go back, Jefferson was 1 year before Chase.
Okay, so that's on me. So yeah, I mean, that should be the deal. That should be the deal if you ask me. So this has been one of the worst packs of cards that I've opened in recent memory.
Oh, not on this show.
No, we've opened worse on this show.
You've had some ugly ones? I mean,
we've had some bad ones.
I mean,
best card in here is Jamar Chase. The best card in here is probably Kid Reporter. At least you get a shot at glory.
I mean, that pack is like the Najee Harris of packs on the show.
It is. Oh wow! So it's middle of the pack, just
middle of the pack. We'll call it. Yeah. We'll call
I mean, Roschon Johnson rated rookie. I mean, I don't know.
How do we feel about
Khalil Herbert? Press proof or anything?
How do we feel about Khalil Herbert? Is he getting showcased, or is he? What are we doing with him? If you're a Bears person,
I think if you're a Bears person, if you're a dynasty, I always look at it in terms of like dynasty. You got to ask yourself, well, Khalil Herbert, if you are a true believer, which there are a lot of people out there, if you look at the advanced metrics, he does have a decent breakaway run rate. He does break a lot of tackles. I don't really love him, but I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? If you're a true believer, at least he's a free agent next year because they signed DeAndre Swift to a 3-year deal. Roschon Johnson's on a rookie contract with 3 more years left. Like those are both overlapping. So one of those guys is kind of stuck and cooked. Whereas at least Khalil Herbert can sign somewhere else. And if you believe in the talent, then maybe he'll get a new opportunity. So I don't know. I'd almost rather, because like Roschon, like I said, he ain't going nowhere. So if DeAndre Swift is good, he is stuck for multiple years. It's kind of the same thing with Tony Pollard. If Tony Pollard is good, Tajay Spears now has a guy with a contract that overlaps his rookie contract pretty much completely, which I hate. I hate that feeling in Dynasty where you're like, you're waiting for something to happen, but when? Like Tony Pollard was stuck behind Zeke and the contracts overlapped and it's like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I hate that feeling,
You just want to see them have an opportunity so you know exactly what you're doing with them and they're not wasting a spot year to year to year. So
you want to be able to say next year, right? Okay. Somebody opens good cards.
If you could buy low on one veteran running back that might switch teams this offseason, is it Khalil Herbert or Elijah Mitchell?
Ooh, you crafty dog.
I'd lean Herbert.
I think it's still Herbert. Elijah Mitchell, they didn't trust him. That was the thing, and I think Elijah Mitchell just got beaten out by Jordan Mason. I actually kind of like Jordan Mason deep. Like if I'm doing like an FFPC 20-round draft, I'll look at him. Are you checking to see if he's available, Bernard?
No, I was going to our lads to look up the 49ers running back depth chart situation.
I'm just looking to see who has these players on.
I've been hearing good things about Jordan Mason from Shanahan himself. He was like, there's a quote out there that was, I might be butchering it, but he was basically like, Elijah Mitchell is good, but Jordan Mason is taking things to another level, which I'm like, damn. Okay. All right. I mean, he said it. Yeah, because before that I was like, I don't really care, but now I do care all of a sudden because if he's saying this guy looks really good, and CMC is one of the older backs in the league on an offense that has Trent Williams and Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, boys, I think the two of us could run for 3 yards of carry behind that offense, Whereas
Maybe you can.
in most offenses, I'd be at -5 yards of carry.
I'm only about an hour and 40 minutes from the 49ers practice facility. I could give it a whirl.
Whirl it, dude. I mean, with that offensive line and the fullback and the scheme, we could get away with it. We could get a yard.
All right. I think I get a yard. Now, Jared, I believe you've got the next going reverse chronological there. You got the 2022 Panini Prestige Jumbo Pack.
I do. Do we want to let Coop knock out his other pack real quick?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
No, if we have time, we'll circle back to me. Let's.
All right, cool. All right, so I'll rip this real quick.
Anticipation heightens the arrival.
Yeah, and since you mentioned doing it off air, we'll just do it on air. Adam, if you don't mind bringing up the East Coast cam.
All right, let's do it.
See, that's what's so cool. You guys have these things. I got to get something like this.
Yeah, you gotta look at my Disney cable box there.
I muted it.
Yeah, he fixed it.
All right, thank you. So we start out with I don't even know what to say about this player other than he probably has his playing days behind him, but Chandler Jones. Hopefully he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, that's a sad situation, man. Because great, incredible athlete. I mean,
yep. And we go.
His whole family incredible athletes.
We go right from that to a couple. Yeah, I mean with John Bones and the other one who played in the NFL, Arthur Jones. But yeah, Evan McPherson and Marquise Brown. So a couple of repeats from your pack there.
This is 2022.
Yes,
22.
Okay.
Amari Cooper. I don't know how I feel about the Browns this season. I don't know how I feel about Deshaun Watson in general. I don't think it's a good look for Deshaun Watson that Joe Flacco at 38 years old off the couch comes in and plays as well as he did. So
right. I'm willing to bet on Deshaun Watson. I kind of like him. And it's not as
a human. Yeah, you have to make sure you quantify that
on the field. We'll bet on.
No. I actually don't. I don't like betting him in fantasy. I just think he's a really good dude. The complete opposite. Where I think that there's a possibility he's still good at football.
I mean, they had Jerry Jeudy, right? So that's another weapon for him.
Right. If you sort all quarterbacks all time by fantasy points per game, he is third on the list, behind only Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. And and on the list, he's 20.4 points per game. Last year, he was averaging like 18 points a game, even with the broken shoulder. He had a couple rushing touchdowns. Like, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. So just keep that in mind. And if you're scrapping at quarterback, there's a real possibility this guy is still good at football, and that would upset a lot of people, but it's possible.
All right. So I always love these packs because they mix in the legends, and you got a legend here with John Elway.
Elway, dude.
Yeah, and that's a cool shot of Elway too.
For sure.
I like
scrambling
that.
to get out of the pocket, maybe look downfield and hit somebody up. I mean, that's classic Elway.
No, he's tucking it and he's going to do the helicopter.
Tre'Davious White with the Buffalo Bills. I don't think he's still on the Bills anymore. I forgot where he is now.
Yeah, he had tough injuries to a great player, man. I mean, he was neck and neck with Stephon Gilmore for Defensive Player of the Year that year.
He is now with the Rams, by the way.
Yep. Khalil Mack, still with the Chargers, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Javon Holland with the Miami Dolphins. Super Bowl hero, Mecole Hardman.
There he is, dude. Star.
So we like that. That actually might be a rookie because he's only been in the league for. No, it's not a rookie. He was a rookie.
Doesn't clearly say it on there?
No. Well, I mean, it would clearly say it, but he was a rookie in 2021. Couple more legends here. Barry Sanders.
Oh, that's my favorite player all time.
Same.
The GOAT running back.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
This is a different type of legend because he was still active at the time. AJ Green here with the Arizona Cardinals.
Love AJ Green, man. AJ Green, watching clips of him was the first time I saw a wide receiver put their hands here. Like, he was being face guarded by a defender. He put his hands here, and then right at the last second, went over here and grabbed the ball with one hand, like over here, and like completely tricked the defender and thinking the ball was coming here. And then the last second, he just goes, boom, touchdown right here. And I was like, dude, this guy is playing chess, and everybody else is playing like tiddlywinks.
Yeah, he rocks. Hopefully, he gets in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Brevin Jordan, who hasn't really panned out to be much.
Big touchdown in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it's true.
Random touch, like 70-yard touchdown.
A former number 1 overall dynasty pick by yours truly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Good
That
pick.
one didn't really work
I
out.
also took him in the Sirius XM League first.
Sorry, I was trying to play the Price is Right thing, and the thing froze on me again. That is the last time I tried Jingle Palette. F you. It's over.
That might have been the appropriate sound for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it worked, but
farts, just a big fart sound.
Yeah, and I was trying to get it, and I faded. Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
that would have been fine.
We'll plow through the rest of these real quickly. Damian Harris with the Patriots. Ashton Davis with the Jets. Harold Landry with the Tennessee Titans.
Stud pass rusher, very underrated.
I wanted him bad because he's a Boston College guy, and we had a pick right there. I think he was Boston College, was he?
I
believe so. I believe so.
I think
we just mentioned him because he just got traded. Matthew Judon with the Patriots.
All right, how do we feel about the Falcons this year in terms of both from a fantasy perspective from everybody on the offense and in the division? Because it's them and Tampa, but the Judon trade now makes me feel like that they are beyond the clear-cut favorite.
10-win team easy.
Okay,
double-digit win team for sure. Which isn't even a hot take because I think Vegas has them at like 9.5 anyway. But I think it's a great team. I love Jesse Bates. Justin Simmons is a good addition. Judon's obviously great. They got back all their offensive linemen. Roger McCreary. I like Kyle Pitts. I like Drake London. I love Kirk Cousins. I like Michael Penix. I'm one of the few people that's like, what if they win this year? Like they could thread the perfect needle to shut everybody up. If they win this year somehow, and then Michael Penix is good, dude, they'll be building statues of what's his name? To GM there, Terry, whatever. It's like
Terry Fontenot.
There'll be Terry Fontenot statues all over the city if they win the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins and then Michael Penix is also good. It's entirely possible. I always ask myself, like, okay, people want them to take a defensive player in the first round. What are the circumstances where they would have won the Super Bowl had they had a specific defensive player, but the team isn't good enough to win the Super Bowl without that one player? Like that's what people are kind of saying is the case now.
Before I go on to the next card, just a quick follow up on the Falcons. What do you make of them just shutting down Michael Penix in the preseason? When they're like, yeah, we've seen enough.
I think they're just being overly cautious after what, with JJ McCarthy and somebody pointed out that they actually lost Mike Vick in a preseason game once upon a time. And since then they've actually been one of the teams that has the starters play the fewest. I think it's once upon a time that happened, and Arthur Blank was like, never again. Yeah, so I think that might be the case.
Madden curse.
I think they're basically like they know they're 1 and 2 quarterbacks, and they're saying now let's find out if another quarterback's even going to be on.
Fair enough. Deontay Johnson, who's no longer with the Steelers, now with the Carolina Panthers, so we're trying to latch on there. I find the Steelers interesting just because I don't think Russell Wilson's very good anymore, and I'm not sure that Justin Fields is either. Well, you disagree? You think Wilson's still good?
No, you're not allowed to ask me that question that way. You're not allowed to phrase it.
Do you think Russell Wilson sucks
less
than
be good.
Justin Fields?
I think he can be good. Last year he was top 5 in touchdown to interception ratio. In fact, he threw 27 touchdowns and ran for 2, which is more than Patrick Mahomes had. I think that he was QB 14 in fantasy despite being benched for 2 games. Like I think there's a real possibility where Russell Wilson is still a good quarterback in fantasy for sure. I think there's a world where George Pickens is good. I think there's a world where Pat Freiermuth is good. I think there's a world where this team won 10 games last year with Kenny Pickett, and that this year they could potentially be flirting with another above 500 season. I know there's a lot of circumstances last year, Joe Burrow with the wrist and all that, but it's entirely possible. So don't rule it out.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I have a short list here of players that I'm like slightly concerned about in fantasy. And it's not even necessarily through any fault of their own. And Pat Freiermuth is on that list because of everything else that's going on there.
I like Freiermuth, man. I did a little research on it. Go to fantasyalarm.com. Just Google Andrew Cooper, Pat Freiermuth, and the article will come up. It should. I just covered how there's entire like Russell Wilson. People say he doesn't throw over the middle of the field. I don't want to bog us down with that. Check out the article. There's a world where he's good. But I mean, Jared, you mentioned a list of guys you're concerned with. I think I've said it before on this show. My rankings are literally just a giant list of guys I'm concerned with, starting at the very top. There's, you know what I mean? It's like there's not one player that doesn't have awards. So it's like fantasy football is just like mitigating who we're terrified about. That's the whole game.
Fair enough. All right, so we'll keep going through this. It's 30 cards in the pack, so it's a ton. Former
30.
MVP Sean Alexander, who quick little Sean Alexander personal story. When I still played season-long leagues, I took him first overall the year after his MVP year, and instantly regretted it because that was the year LaDainian Tomlinson went absolutely beast mode.
Yeah, and he only had 896 yards that year too, Sean Alexander.
He had the turf toe derailed his career, and LT scored 31 touchdowns that year.
Yeah, so one of the all-time great fantasy swing and misses.
Yeah, Alexander was so good though before the turf toe.
He was great. Kadarius Toney, who is on his way to being out of the league for being a moron.
He ruined one of the greatest plays of all time. That the Travis Kelce lateral.
Oh yeah.
Tony was like 3 yards offsides. So stupid.
Not even like a photo finish offsides. Like no, like
so stupid, bro. That was the best play ever, literally ever.
All right, we get into the rookie cards here. Khalil Shakir, rookie card. Wan'Dale Robinson, rookie card.
I like Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, and I like these are picture with their collegiate photos. Rashad White, rookie card.
Got some good rookies there.
Yeah. Damn. What the heck? I got Keon White.
It goes downhill a little bit. Jakari Robinson, rookie card.
There were a minimum 2 different whites from that I could have gotten as rookies that were better than Keon White.
Rashad and
Zamir.
Zamir. Oh yeah, Zamir.
Samir White, yeah. And then we go to some of our insert cards here. I just like the look of these. Deontay Harry with the Saints.
Ooh. That's a nice one.
Tracy Walker with the Lions.
Now.
Those are cool. Too bad they're not good players.
Hey.
Tracy Walker is a decent IDP player. He racks up a ton of tackles, probably because he's not very good. Aaron Donald, powerhouse insert card.
That's cool.
Yeah, newly retired Aaron Donald, by the way. So congratulations on a Hall of Fame career. Timestamp TJ Watt card, which I guess is their version of the Tops Now cards. So this is him recording. This is him when he tied the sack record with 22.5.
Oh, cool.
And what was that? Ty Huntley over there?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
But Pro Bowler Ty Huntley from that year.
So. How many people said no before Ty Huntley accepted?
So many, dude. Definitely.
Devontae Adams prestigious card. It'll be prestigious when Devontae Adams is no longer on the Raiders and he's playing with a good team.
These are good looking cards.
Yeah, these are good looking cards. Youth Movement Jamar Chase card. We like the look of that one. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, the Kid Reporter.
Yeah, the kid is back.
I'm not going to have a Kid Reporter card today. That's sad. I'm the only one that can't be a Kid Reporter. You guys are going to go and have a blast, and I'm just going to be here not having a blast. That's a shame.
That is a shame, dude. Well, someone's got to hold down the fort.
Oh, good pack there. It was good. It was consistent throughout. I think it was a good 30 card jumbo pack. You got to be happy with that.
Great.
Yeah, consistent. It's $12 well spent.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good price for a 30 card NFL pack nowadays.
Right?
Yeah, I wasn't complaining.
Got John Elway. Like I got Darnell Mooney, dude.
LA
card was nice.
Not funny, dude.
It's kind of funny. The way you phrased it was funny.
It's kind of fine. All right. So give us a refresh on what you're ripping.
So I've got a pack of 1997 Pacific Crown collection here. I ripped one of these packs in the past and it was not ideal. Looking for Tiki Barber, Warwick Dunn, Orlando Pace, Jake Plummer rookies there, as you can see on the screen.
Orlando Pace is a hog. You know what Warwick Dunn's doing these days?
Probably doing something great in the community because that's all he ever does is something like he buys like houses for people or something like that. Like he's incredible with the community.
They build houses, man. They build houses, and I saw he hit some milestone for building a ridiculous number of houses.
He was
Oh,
also
so
back when
cool.
Jared and I had the book radio guest. He was a guy that would say yes a lot and would come on. He was a good dude.
Great
All
dude,
right.
man.
All right, so we start off with an Eagle here, Chris T. Jones. Can't say I know anything about him, but there he is. We talked a little Eagles earlier. We went through the NFC East odds. Here we got another no-name, Willie Jackson, Jaguars wide receiver there. Oh, please don't be a bad pack. Come on, come on. Let's see here.
And Mark Brunell on the cover of the pack.
That's Mark Brunell on the cover of the pack.
Wow,
Yes.
they had some good wide receivers back then. Not Willie Jackson, but
Jimmy Smith,
Keenan
Cardell.
Cardell. Yeah, you kind of somehow got this guy.
Unfortunately, we got the Willie Jackson pack.
so many other good cards could add.
That's okay because we also got the Aaron Hayden pack. I don't know who that is from the Chargers. Oh, this is just not. This is not going to be. Yeah,
We'll see.
Well, no, we got Phil Hansen from the Bills. I mean, this is just awful. Let's see. We got Haywood Jeffries pictured with the Saints, but you might remember him from the Oilers and the old run and shoot offense there. Here was a receiver that was pretty good. Carl Pickens from the Bengals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Carl Pickens. I remember, wasn't that it was him and Peter Warrick, but he was the better one of the two, even though Warrick was the higher drafted one.
Yes. Yep.
And the Jets took Lavernius Coles from Florida State, and he actually had a pretty good career with the Jets. Love Lavernius. Let's see here. We got pictured with the Chiefs, safety Mark Collins. Let's see here. We got another Eagle, William Fuller. We've got Chiefs offensive tackle sporting some of the biggest shoulder pads I've ever seen, John Alt. I mean, look at that. I mean, that looks like they're inflated.
Again, the Chiefs had so many good linemen in that era.
Tim Grunhardt at center.
Is that the father of Joe Alt, who just went like high in the first round this year?
I believe so. I mean, how many alts are out there? That's not a
look at the neck roll there. Yeah, that's John Alt, dude. That's him. And their brother. So his father was John Alt, pictured here. John Alt's brother, Mark. Oh no, Joe Alt's brother, Mark, is a professional hockey player.
Don't know Mark Alt.
Yeah, Mark Alt played 20 years in the NHL, so that's John Alt's brother.
It's a family affair here, family ties.
Yeah, guys are yoked.
All right, let's wrap up this horrendous pack that is easily the worst of the day. We got Tyrone Poole, who actually was a decent cornerback in his day with the Panthers.
I remember him. Yeah,
he was decent. And then we closed the pack with a Giants quarterback from their mediocre era. And
Gary Collins.
Guess again. Let's try again.
Oh, Danny Cannell.
Ding, ding, ding. Danny Cannell, also of Sirius XM fame.
Danny Cannell. There you go.
I don't know if I have any Danny Cannell stories that are good for air. Just from like working with him. I don't know that I have any good ones.
Yeah.
Well, I might have to hear one of the non-on-air ones, but I'm glad Coop brought another pack because we got to get that. We got to get that taste out of our mouth.
This is only 8 cards. I mean, dude, you're right. So you should. Now I believe you that you guys have ripped some rough packs compared to my pack because good God. At least I pulled Roshan Johnson. I mean, in a couple of years, though, we could be looking at my stack of cards here and be like,
yeah,
hey,
at least
Jamar Chase is in there. All right.
Not unless Carl Pickens comes back.
So this is a Panini Contenders, okay? And we're looking for the same players. I mean, the big cards in here are the ticket ones, and there's some autograph cards here that actually have on card. We didn't have it up there because this is a bonus pack.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're looking for Nakua and Laporte and those guys. There are the one thing from these ones that I've heard is that there's actual on card autographs rather than the stickers. So let's see.
Which I like, but I feel like the stickers hold up better over time than the ones directly on the card. But
yeah, we can sell them. All right. This guy, I think, is in for a big year here. I'm drafting a lot of Mr. Kyler Murray in my leagues. I think that, again, you do the same thing we did, sort all quarterbacks all time by fantasy points. He's actually 4th on the list.
And he's another year removed from the torn ACL, which helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All you really need to do is run 90 times a season as a quarterback, and your floor is essentially QB1. Every quarterback that's run 90 times and played at least 16 games has finished as a QB1 in fantasy, except 2014 Colin Kaepernick. So
selfish fantasy question here. How do we feel about Michael Wilson? Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the top target there and all that, but how do we feel about Michael Wilson?
I mean, it's the same thing that we always say. The best way to create leverage in fantasy, right, is to bet on or against rookies, So that's the game. We know Trey McBride is locked into 100 targets, assuming he's healthy. If Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't a world beater that commands 150 targets, maybe he gets 110, 120, there's room for another guy to get 90. And that's where you bet on Michael Wilson, you bet on Greg Dortch. I think Michael Wilson is going to be an every down player as a split end, which is going to make things easier for Marvin Harrison Jr. But of course, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is good, it's very difficult to have 3 fantasy relevant pass catchers from the same team. Very, very rare. Last year, if you take all the wide receivers and wide receivers and tight ends, put them in the same bucket, and find the guy that was third on his team in targets and also played the entire season, the highest scoring guy was Gabe Davis. Second highest was Brandon Cooks. Very rare to have the best guys to finish third on their team in targets were Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel, but they did it because they got hurt. Right. So it's just very rare that you have 3 fantasy relevant pass catchers all at the same time. That has happened though. 2013 Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdown passes. 2014 Josh McCown supported Alshon Jeffrey. Martellus Bennett was a top 5 tight end.
That's right.
And they also had Brandon Marshall.
Right. Plus,
and
the Niners
and Matt Forte got 100 targets.
Plus, aren't the Niners a little bit of an outlier there as well? Just because their skill position players are so good between Ayuk, right, Samuel, Kittle, CMC.
And the big key for the Niners is they have the fullback and Charlie Warner. He's gone now, but last year those 2 players combined for over 800 snaps. Charlie Warner and Kyle Juszczyk played more snaps combined than Brandon Ayuk. They played more snaps combined than Deebo Samuel, and they got 20 targets. That highly consolidates the targets among the top guys. If you have a situation like that, Jared, you're right. It can happen where you get 3 guys all get 100 targets. Last year, because of injuries, only one guy got 100 targets. I think it was Ayuk. But you can get there with super high consolidation. So if you're going to bet on teams like that, bet on teams like the Dolphins. They also use Alec Ingold and Durham Smythe. But yeah, so it can happen. It's just rare. It's very rare. Michael Pittman Jr., another player I like. I'm liking this pack so far.
Yeah,
Michael Pittman Jr.
is better than mine.
He was playing 5 games, played 100% of the snaps. Like you can count on him. Ooh, and
he always produces regardless of who's at quarterback.
Right.
It's just the way he's been throughout his career.
Yep, he's just a big body. So hopefully Anthony Richardson does enough throwing, not too much running. TJ Watt, superstar, mega star. These are the ones you wish are like the rare, inserts. Speaking of superstars, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. Mike Gesicki on the Patriots. Just my goodness, dude. I remember last year a game ended for the Patriots because they tried to have Mike Gesicki block Max Crosby at the end of the game, and obviously Max Crosby ran right over him and got a safety, and that was the end of the game. But yeah, there you go.
What did they think was going to happen?
Exactly what happened. I think they just wanted the game to be over.
In that case, mission accomplished.
Good coaching in that regard.
Right. They're like, if we just take a safety here and let them kneel it instead of letting the strip sack it for a touchdown, then we can cover the spread. Stephon Diggs, good player, different team.
Talked about him earlier.
All right, let's get an insert here. Let's get something fancy. Ooh, here's a player that I like in the second round a lot this year. People are sleeping on just absolute target hog, Devontae Adams. I don't even know what the inserts look like in this pack. Oh, here's one. You guys might have to explain this card to me. Oh, it looks like they take 2 guys who are drafted in the same round and put them on a card. So, man, the odds of this of either player hitting are so low. But if both players hit, this will be an interesting card. Round 7 dual Max Duggan, Kenny McIntosh card.
Wow,
that's deep cut.
I was going to say Max Duggan just got waived by the Chargers, so that one's not looking good.
Quietly, we were talking about I rank guys out to like a couple hundred with the dynasty rankings. Kenny McIntosh was he almost made it. So
Almost
Almost.
that close.
he was just on the cutting room floor. All right, we got another one of those, and it's a round one. So this is kind of cool. Then Deontay Banks and Devon Witherspoon. So you're gonna have to talk to me about Banks because I like Witherspoon. I don't know much about Banks.
I mean, he was their first round pick at cornerback like last year or the year before.
Okay, so that's as much as I know.
Yeah, trying to rebuild the secondary. I mean, I feel like he had a decent rookie year. I mean, corners are
Tough.
always kind of iffy, but I mean, obviously he's not Witherspoon. But put it this way, I don't worry about Deontay Banks. I worry about the rest of the pieces of the Giants secondary. I don't worry about him.
Okay, well that's good. We put this one in one of these here, and we'll keep an eye on it, dude. All right, well that's that pack. Not too bad. I mean, definitely some stars in there, some fun guys to talk about. I love doing the show, man. Like nothing better than hanging out with your buddies and just ripping some cards, talking a little foosball, you know. So thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
We do appreciate you coming on, Coop. You're one of our favorites to have on. We know and like you said, it's just fun to catch up and rip some cards and all that good stuff. We went through a lot of packs today here. Now, can you hang around for a couple more minutes for the starting lineup figure 5 before we wrap things up?
Got to, man. Got to.
All right.
Staple part of the show.
It is a staple part of the show. But because we have a guest today, we do 6 questions, so you can each take 3 to try and figure it out. Now, Jared's been on a bit of a hot streak lately. I think he's got 3 of the last 4 here.
I pulled one out of my ass last week or the week before.
There was one a couple of weeks ago where I thought you were on the right path, and you asked a question to make me think you were completely off of it, and then you still got it. So very impressive performance here lately.
Yeah, I think I got. Did I get mine last time? I might have. I might have just.
I think I might have one up to you.
Yeah, I think you got me. It was a hockey player actually, and I did not get it.
Well, today is going to be football since it's all football. Let's get the figure 5 bet going here. Guys, each have 3 questions. You can alternate. You can go 3 each. You do whatever the hell you want, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can go first.
Do you want me to go first?
You go first. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. Is this player a New England Patriot?
No, he is not a New England Patriot. Good question considering the guest, but no.
Okay. Is it an offensive player?
Yes.
Okay. That makes that life's easier.
Is this player a quarterback?
Yes.
Nice. All right. Is this player in the AFC?
So keep in mind we're doing older players, but yes, he spent the entirety of his career in the AFC.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are a few teams that bounced around, but for the most part, even the Colts were in the AFC East, but they're still the AFC team.
Did this player play his entire career with this team?
Just gonna double check that. Yes.
Did this player win a Super Bowl?
Did not win a Super Bowl. Played in one. Did not win one.
Okay.
I have a guess.
That knocks a good chunk out. That's all our questions. We're out of questions.
I think Jared might have one more. Did you burn all 3?
I burned all 3.
We usually use 3. Yeah.
All right. So everybody used 3. You have all of our facts on the table. We know it's an AFC quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Older player, but I mean, we're not talking like.
No, not Roger Staubach.
Okay.
Not that old. Jeez.
When we have Zig Fracassi on, we'll break out the Roger Staubach one.
I feel like we got a little bit of info with the played in one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to write down my guess and not necessarily. I'm going to give Coop the option of making the first guess.
Okay. I like this writing down.
Yeah, let me try and write mine down then too. Well, actually, I don't necessarily because
if I had a pen that worked and a whiteboard, this would be so much better. But
the played in one, I mean, like, because I'm taking that to mean like it's not somebody that played in like 4 and lost them all. So
yeah, that would rule out somebody that you're referring to there.
Yeah. So hopefully, I'm not going down the wrong path.
Played in one and lost.
Okay.
3-time All-Pro Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer?
Jared's writing his guess down.
I'm done. Yeah, I've written it.
Okay.
I'm a little surprised that Coop is taking this long to get this.
Well, you
think-
got it. You already
I'm
have
pretty
it.
confident who this is.
I think
I'm pretty
Jared's got
confident
it.
this is.
But I'm getting that vibe that you got it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll throw my guess out there. You said he played for the same team the whole time.
Yes.
Is it Dan Fouts?
Good guess. Right first name. But Jared's got it. He
Dude,
is
I honestly thought that was too easy. I thought that was too easy. That's Dan Marino was my first. Dan Marino was my guess before we even started asking questions. I don't know. You got to bring a little more heat than that, dude.
So hey, listen, you're the one that overthought it. What's the thing? Is usually the solution to the problem is the
That's
simplest
right.
one.
Yeah, you're right.
And the reason why it's Marino this week is because the theme of the starting lineup studio audience is teams I don't like, and I don't have a Dolphins one open, so we had to take care of business. So let's get that Dan Marino card on the screen right there.
For the record, I did not know what the theme was going to be this week.
That's right. You don't know the theme until after the fact. So
I always assume the theme is a local flavor, which is why I asked the Patriot question first.
Yeah, Dan Fouts played for the same team his entire career. He never won a Super Bowl. He is in the Hall of Fame.
And he played in one.
He didn't play in one.
He didn't play in one.
Made it to the AFC Championship game twice. He did not fit all the criteria, so you know what? I can't give myself any credit at all. Danny Marino, man.
Can you imagine Marino in today's NFL? He would throw for 5,000 yards.
Marino is, to me, like when you do like the GOAT debates, there's two categories. And I feel like the people that love Peyton Manning should also have Dan Marino like too. Because when you talk about pure ability and fundamentals and the throwing of the football, just the flat out throwing of the football, you don't get much better. Right. Like,
and also I love the detail in that figure that he has all the fingers, which is more than we can say about the Jim Abbott starting lineup from a couple weeks ago.
I mean, if they made a JPP one, I wonder what direction they take that in.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough look.
That's
a tough one. Yeah,
but
Marino, I mean, there's arguments to be made. I would say that if you had Peyton Manning as your number one overall quarterback all time, you could make an argument that Marino is too.
I mean, growing up as a Jets fan in the AFC East, and I've talked about this on the show. I mean, Marino just ruined many Sundays for Jets fans. I do love when the card and the line figure are close in pose, and they are pretty close to the pose there, so they do a good job there.
Yeah. All right, so since we're having the GOAT debate, let's ask Coop this question because I'm sure, obviously, you're a Patriots guy, you're a Brady guy. How devastated? Yes, of course. How devastated are you going to be when Patrick Mahomes breaks every Tom Brady record and winds up
Great question.
7 Super Bowls?
You know, I will be sad for a few years until Drake May breaks him back. You know, it's gonna be a long back and forth. I mean, I think that just like every other fan of the previous guy, I reserve the right to hold out into deep into the land of irrational rational levels, like with the Joe Montana guys. Like, I respect their ability to be like, well, Joe Montana never lost the Super Bowl, right? Like, to really take it to that level, I will take it to that level. But I can admit that Patrick Mahomes is doing things that Tom Brady couldn't even dream of doing. Just the creativeness, the ridiculous arm slots, like things that Brady would just never do. They're just such different players that I think it's entirely possible that at the end of the day, the body of work that Patrick Mahomes puts together could easily be just so much more impressive than Brady, because Brady did it in such a, we're just going to do what we have to do to win. Whereas Mahomes is winning like, and it looks like the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Like, it's just like, he already has a 50 touchdown season, so it doesn't need to beat that. If he comes out and has like a legitimate undefeated season, I think that arguments could be made at that stage that there's nothing really even left. So,
I mean, I think all you need to say is they traded away Tyreek Hill, and he's won 2 Super Bowls since they've done
well,
it.
the Patriots, it's like he went undefeated almost with Randy Moss scoring 23 touchdowns, and they got rid of him, and then and then he still won 3 more. So, it's like if we could actually just take Mahomes' career and fold it like a piece of paper and open it up and it looks the same on both sides, then he's obviously the best there's ever been. So it's entirely possible. It's just jarring that somebody could show up and to just already be on that trajectory. Very, very difficult, like no one will ever touch Wayne Gretzky's numbers. No one will ever touch Jerry Rice's numbers, but Brady didn't leave necessarily untouchable numbers besides the rings. And if Mahomes hits 7 rings, then I don't think there's many arguments left. There's none, in fact, because Mahomes is awesome, dude. He's super cool. I'm also a fantasy guy, so like it's easier for me to put the homer stuff aside a little bit,
And if you think about it too, Brady kind of had like 2 careers with the Patriots that were Hall of Fame worthy. You had the back in the early days of Deion Branch, and then later on, right. Patrick Mahomes is how old right now? He's 28. He could still have a whole second career.
Well, that's what he has to have. That's the bar that's been set. So like post Kelsey, you've got you have the Brady Gronk era, and then Brady had another Hall of Fame career. Like at post Kelsey, if Mahomes is just awesome, then it's there's nothing to be done. I want to ask you guys one before we leave because you got hockey guys, and we were having this debate. Better career, let's say both their careers ended today. Sidney Crosby or Alexander Ovechkin. Start with you more.
Sidney Crosby's the more complete player. He's a center, which carries a lot more weight for me, just generally speaking. He's won more championships. He's even though Crosby's going to have, even though Ovechkin's going to have the goals record, I don't think anyone would be able to argue that Ovechkin is a top 5 all-time player. I think you can make that argument with Sidney Crosby. And Ovechkin is, he's getting a little older. He's kind of slowing down a little bit. Like Crosby's still one of the best centers in the league.
Yeah.
Crosby had an MVP caliber season last year.
I think the argument you could have for Ovechkin would be the physicality if you were that type of person, because he does. I mean, he's for wings, he has to be way up there on the all-time hits list too. Now,
this is what I'll say.
He's also a little bit of a one-trick pony, but it's maybe the greatest one trick in NHL history. He sets up in that Ovi spot on the power play.
Mariano Rivera was a one-trick pony too, and it worked out just fine for him. So,
but we wouldn't say Mariano Rivera is the best pitcher of all time. That's
best closer,
best scorer maybe for Ovechkin. So,
right, but I mean,
this is the thing about Ovechkin. He is the best shooter we will ever see. I mean, maybe somebody comes, but in terms of the history of hockey, one area he is better than Crosby is he is an infinitely better shooter, and that's not Crosby's got a great shot, but Ovechkin's shot is just otherworldly. Everybody knows it's coming. Everybody knows where he is, and he still scores.
There might not be anyone ever that has a better one-timer than Ovechkin. Which
it's where he's going, where he's going to set up. I mean, sometimes defenses don't even leave anybody on him because what the frick's the point? Even if you put a body on him to cover that area, he's still going to get the shot off. He's still going to hit it.
You guys forgot one of the key categories, which is supporting Vladimir Putin or not. Like,
we try to separate the politics from
Crosby checks every box though for that one. Yeah, we will separate the politics.
If you're looking for a Russian that is anti-Putin, Artemi Panarin's your guy. So he has not been shy about being against him, and there's
we'll leave that. We'll leave that off the air. I know the Sirius XM popped out. And Jared's like, cut the mics.
I mean, it's just like Ovechkin early in his career, 425 shots, 392. I mean, the guy 528 in 2008 on. I mean, the guy was just
fantasy hockey 101 for many, many years
there. Yeah, a top pick, and then Crosby. It was usually him and Crosby. It was 1-2 every year. It was just who are you going to go with? But there you go. So there we go. Dan Marino going to join the starting lineup studio audience, which is teams that I don't like. So you see Ziggy Palffy from the '97 Islanders there.
Andre Tippett,
1988. Don't dislike the player. Hell of a player. Just and I put the nice Patriot jersey there, so it's that helps soften the blow. We got Pedro Martinez with the Red Sox cap, and then last week's unboxing, Mr. Martin Brodeur.
Now I know why Marty was last week.
I was kind of like loosely setting it up if it worked out, and it did work out. There you go.
You not a big Martin Brodeur fan?
Listen, as a Ranger fan, like he ruined a good 10 years of my rooting life from 1997 to about 2007, but he's the best goalie of all time. And I understand what people say, oh, he's in a defensive system and he faced 15 shots a night and blah, 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 blah. They literally had to put that trapezoid behind the net because he was such a good puck handler. That they said, no, that we got to get rid of that.
Do you ever go back and watch that Sean Avery game?
I was I was not
stick in the face game.
I was at the game after that in that playoff series. That was game 3, and then I went to game 4 of that series. That was fun.
Yeah, I have my whole shelf of Devils autographed pucks there, and Marty is certainly on the list there.
Star, dude, star.
Yeah, I'd pull it out, but it's all the way on the bottom.
Right, I'll leave it.
Dig through it.
There you go. Yeah, we don't want to have that come crashing down as things wrap up here. But then again,
no, that shelf's very lightweight. Not a lot of support there.
It would be good for the show to watch it crumble. But nonetheless,
for the show.
My collection's been growing, boys. We'll save it for another show, but I mean, I got some tight end cards here stacked up thick all of a sudden. So
maybe next time you come on, we'll do an I Love Lucy edition, and you can just show off all your tight end cards. So we love that too.
This one's betting on this year right here. Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth, dual jerseys, both of them going pop this year, and that one that's a bet. I bought that one. I bought that single off eBay. I was like, these are my 2 boys this year. Let's go.
And that's numbered out of 25 too. So if they do take off, that's going to be something.
Yeah, there we go, dude. And of course, I got my guy Evan Ingram right here, dude. That's my baby.
Was that a red patch with that?
Yeah, it's a rookie out of 75 for the Giants. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah,
we'll get into that another show, dude.
But Coop, thank you so much for here again. Fantasy Alarm draft guide going on there. Go to fantasyalarm.com. Anything else before we get out of here, Coop?
Yeah, the new channel Redraft in 5. Check it out. We're going to be doing shows on that, promoting Fantasy Alarm. It's all Fantasy Alarm stuff, but that's just a new like kind of offshoot channel I'm doing with Theo Greminger of Player Profiler. So check it all out. Thank you guys, man. We gotta put me back in the rotation. Get me back, and I'll get loaded up.
Yes, and I'm excited to check out that Redraft in 5. That's very intriguing. But you can catch him at Coop A Fiasco on Twitter. All the information there for Fantasy Alarm and for Redraft in 5. Coop, thanks as always for stopping by. Always appreciate you ripping some packs with us.
Cheers.
Mr. Jared Moore over there. I'm at Pucking Thoughts. We'll be back with you next week. All new episode of Rip N Riff. Going to be talking plenty of football here as we approach the season. But for the gang, I'm at Pucking Thoughts. Be back with you next week here on Rip N Riff.